Welcome back in GPS to God. That is where you are. We're glad you're with us. We got the same crew as last week, believe it or not. Daniel Sanders, Stefano Patterson, Brandon Shanks, and Zach Edson with us here, carrying you on to part number 4 of the Job study. Believe it or not, we made a mistake last week.
What's that?
We did not give out the email address.
Oh, I blame the host.
I do too. But we'll make up for it today. Mailroom at gpstogod.com. You can email us right there. Mailroom at gpstogod.com. Reach out on Instagram as well. Drop us a message on there. I believe they call that a DM. You know, if I'm up on the lingo, drop us a DM and we will respond back to that as well. But
you don't post on Instagram but once a year, so you're not going to see those DMs.
I get on Instagram and look at other people's stuff.
Exactly.
But drop us a line. We'd like to hear from you. What do you think about this study of Job? Are you keeping up or not? Are you following along with us? Send us some questions. Tell us what we said wrong. All that kind of stuff. Any of that. We're down for it.
That's probably the most likely.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yes, I can guarantee you that.
But glad you're back with us. We have the same crew as last week. They did so well that we invited them back. Ryan is still out goofing off, and
the pay is so good.
Hey,
couldn't resist.
We take care of our own here. All the airheads you can eat until they run out.
Those are warheads, though.
We brought those back.
Warheads, warheads for the airheads.
Whoa!
Yeah, we brought those back.
I just caught that.
Dwindling.
It applies.
Yeah, called an airhead. I have not been called an airhead in a while, but that's okay.
But we did we did cover up the LSU after Brandon's request last week. We got our swag from K.L. Gilchrist, signed autographed copy of one of her books, and we're going to see how long it takes Ryan to catch that. He may
think it might be a while. Maybe.
It could be a while.
No, I need to turn. He'll notice.
We'll
I don't want to be so down on Ryan. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll try to start that way.
We'll see. We'll see.
You think Ty's going to roll back in?
Hey, Ty might. You never know.
I mean, it'd be a three-peat there. I don't know.
If he brings warheads, I'm in.
Right, exactly.
I could not.
He did bring snacks last time.
Very true.
Yeah.
Good point.
But
I
don't know. We'll have to say something else we did on the shelf was something of Ryan's, and he noticed as soon as he walked in. This
little,
like a
a
year ago.
Shrimp or
that crawfish.
That crawfish.
Crawfish is right over there.
Put that out there.
He noticed.
He did.
As soon as he walked in the room.
Yes, he did, and we doubted him.
Yeah. Well, he's got to prove it more than once. So.
Oh, exactly.
But last week we made it through chapter 11. We're going to pick up on chapter 12 today, and we are just going to rehash a little bit, recap. We had the other two friends speak up. So on last episode, Bildad and Zophar, they got a word or two in, and Job had to reply for each of them, but we did not make it to Job's reply to Zophar. So Zophar came in hot. He was coming in, and one of the favorite verses from last week of. You stupid man. What a stupid man.
Yeah.
But,
I think witless was the term.
Witless?
That too.
That was Fano's version.
Yeah.
Yes,
so Zophar came in kind of hot there and very accusatory. It was an accusatory episode last week. Job accusing God a little bit, but still saying, I don't know as much as God, but I think I'm right.
Yeah.
And then Zophar firing hot. He had his notes in the ashes, and he's like, hey, I've heard enough of you turkeys talking. Here's what I got to say.
He sat there 7 days in silence. There were two friends.
However long that took. I mean, I guess that is interesting. I wonder, like these conversations. I think we brought it up last time. I was thinking about that during the whole, like, how long did this take? Like Job's rebuttal and everything. Are we talking about just a couple days here, or are they saying something like sleeping on it and then coming back the next morning or something? I mean, I don't.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I like when Zophar said what he said, and now Job's reply just
how far
immediate,
along? Right?
Just right after Zophar ends his
If he says all this off the cuff, good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, is he
True. It definitely
soaking
wasn't.
it in for a night and then coming back at him in the morning, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, something
I
that,
don't think we know.
yeah. Obviously, they're going to have more emotion and stuff, I think, than if we were just to read this through, we're either going to read it very like Ben Stein, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or
Bueller.
or we're going to infer our own tone in it, right? And kind of put our own thoughts of, well, I think he's saying it in this kind of style. But it is hard to know. I mean, maybe, like you said, Zophar was kind of waiting his turn, and then he got in there and it's like, all right, man, here, look at this. Let me tell you.
Right.
Kind of thing. I do that sometimes. Someone's speaking, but man, I already know what I'm going to say back. I'm just waiting for a pause, right? It's like, come on. But who knows?
Yeah.
But so far, we went through that, and now Job replies for several chapters. What I meant to say and forgot, the friends kind of, it's not Zophar speaks, then Zophar comes back. Like, they take turns. So, when we get to chapter 15, Eliphaz is back in the game kind of deal. So it's not just rebuttal. So that kind of muddies the water a little bit more of all of them jumping in.
Yeah.
Let's see. 18, Bildad comes back, and then Zophar. So, I mean, they're taking turns. Even through chapter 20. They're taking turns of one friend speaks, then Job, then a different friend, then Job. So
cross-examination.
Yeah.
That's right.
Then I think about postures as well. I mean, does Job get up? Is he yelling? Is he like standing and like pointing at them or anything? Are they all like sitting down? Or if they're all just sitting around each other and they're just going around and
because they were
circle?
They were in the dust and ash pit,
Sitting there.
right? When they first came and sat down for 7 days together. Is it?
Wonder if somebody's in somebody's face or something.
How heated is it?
Right.
So I have a feeling it's pretty heated. Just going. Yeah.
I mean, they're talking about absolutes of the creation.
That's right.
Right.
Of everything. God is this, God is that. God, you've been doing this to God. You've been not doing this, whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, we get pretty emotional over, insignificant things like food and sports and whatever else. And when they're going against God and absolutes.
No, that's right.
Just like Zach said, I mean, that's a lot to just say off the cuff. I mean, like these responses are as heavy as,
Slow to speak.
Yeah.
We're going the other way. We're going
it is. So
Brandon wasn't here when we talked about timeline. Do you have an idea, or you may know, in biblical history, where does the book of Job fall on a timeline? Like, how early or late was it written? Would you have a guess? I didn't know this before we started studying.
I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry.
Would you guess early or late?
I'm going to guess late.
There is no real answer, but they believe it's a very early book.
Very early.
Mm-hmm.
Could be even before Moses.
Yeah.
Did y'all have anybody figure out why there was they said female donkey? Like, did y'all have any?
Ryan did a little research. I was actually talking to somebody about that today, but it was the same thing of females give birth.
Okay.
So as a way to, hey, you're
Because
going to have some more here.
like
offspring.
a male donkey is just used for labor. A female donkey you can use for labor, but she's also going to give birth, and you get more out of that.
Yeah.
Kind of like like on the movie Titanic, or some of these, like women and children first in the boats, because they can reproduce. If all the men die, they can find other ways to reproduce and continue. But if it's full of men in the lifeboat, then what are you going to do?
Creation stops.
It ends.
Yeah.
But I had a point to the being written early. I don't remember what that is at the moment, but kind of lost that train. But it is early on, they think, because of one of the monies that they mentioned in here was only mentioned in a couple other places very early. And Job and his friends refer to God as the Almighty. Is that right? And the only other place that was done was
that Exodus?
Abraham.
Abraham.
Daniel's just got all the facts.
Yeah.
He did.
Well, the internet helps out a lot on that.
It's undefeated.
Boom.
I was going to say Siri, but me and you and I, or however you want to say that, have not went on the dark side yet and got an Apple product. So
No. Standing strong.
yeah, we're staying strong.
We'll rescue you guys when the Apple products come to life.
That's right.
Be like Will Smith in iRobot.
Right.
Or maybe ours will be the only one that works.
Very true. Here's a flip side of that.
I don't know. Skynet's coming online. You're going to be calling us.
That's right.
Not on your phone, though.
Oh, boy.
But Job, we're going to get into Job's response here to Zophar. Is that, yeah.
Yeah, so far.
Job is responding. We are starting today in verse 12. We may be near halfway today, fellas. I don't think we'll get there, but we'll be near it.
We're in chapter 12?
What'd I say, verse 12? Yes, chapter 12. Whew, if it was only verse 12.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
This study may be put on pause for a while.
Yeah. Sorry, Ryan.
But chapter 12 is where we are picking up. Job is responding to Zophar. Zophar had his first chance to speak here. The tone and everything, though, that's a good one.
Yeah.
How they're speaking.
Yeah.
Are they? That's a.
Yeah, just seeing how their postures and stuff. Are they sitting down, just kind of? But like Zach said, these are some pretty heavy topics to just be.
And talking
Casual.
about having passion for sports or food or whatever. A lot of times we have more passion for those things that don't matter
Right.
than we do for God and
absolutely,
heavenly
for
things
sure.
that matter.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
Chapter 12, Job comes back. And, he comes pretty strong here. All three of his friends have had a chance to speak, and he's jumping right back in. Verse number 2, no doubt you are the people, and wisdom will die with you.
Little sarcasm there.
Yeah. But I have understanding as well as you. So before this, he had been accused by Zophar of, not understanding, not being able to understand how deep God is, the thoughts of God, because Job was kind of saying, look, I'm innocent. I can't compare myself to God because there's nobody that can mediate between us. But I'm innocent, even though I'm being punished by God. So Zophar kind of ridiculed and was sending some correction his way, and now Job is responding. Wisdom's going to die with you guys. I have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Who does not know such things as these? I'm a laughingstock to my friends, I, who called God, and he answered me, a just and blameless man, am a laughingstock. So he's kind of saying, you may have wisdom in your own head, but you don't know nothing. I've communicated with God. He talked to me. We communicated. I know more than you know. Verse 6, the tents of robbers are at peace, and those who provoke God are secure. Who will bring their God in their hand? Who bring their God in their hand? So, he's just kind of saying, I'm innocent being attacked. The robbers and the guys doing terrible, they're sleeping great every night. They're secure in their own houses, and I'm the one being attacked.
Yeah, he's the laughing stock. You don't see that in the Bible very often.
No.
The word laughing stock.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that they, like both sides, now Job saying that he's not inferior to them, and then in their rebuttals, they're saying that they're not inferior to Job. It's like both of them are trying to make sure that they're not inferior to each other, but they're on the same playing field.
That's a real everyday example of us when we trying to keep up with our friends or acquaintances or whatever. It's like, well, I'm equal to you. You know, my job is just as prestigious as your job. income, my house, my car, my whatever.
That's right. Yeah.
Keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing.
Yeah.
Appearances.
Mm-hmm.
We'll jump on down to verse 20, chapter 12, verse 20. He deprives of speech those who are trusted and takes away the discernment of the elders. So God is or Job is talking about God again and what he does and doesn't do. And kind of like he said, when he was making a case that the tents of robbers are at peace, but God deprives of speech those who are trusted and takes away the discernment of the elders. When I read that, to me, that was a little bit of maybe foreshadowing when I thought about going against Pharaoh, right? And not being able to speak. They had called Aaron in because Moses was, he's like, I can't do that. I can't talk, kind of that kind of thing. And I mean, it may be totally non-related, but that hit me of Moses having someone else speak for him, but he was the trusted one chosen to take the people out of Egypt. All right, we'll move on. That's all I had in that one.
That's now in check mark.
Yeah. Then we move on to chapter 13. The header of chapter 13 is "Still I will hope in God." So Job is kind of walking that path of defending himself and rebuking or giving rebuttal to what his friends have said, but he's still trying to keep his focus on God. Still I will hope in God. Mm-hmm. Verse number 3, "But I would speak to the Almighty, and I desire to argue my case with God. As for you," he's talking about his friends now, "as for you, you whitewash with lies. Worthless physicians are you all."
Wow.
I mean, I can imagine they're not just sitting down in a little circle, saying that pretty calm and collected. That's kind of a...
I can't believe they're not just sitting around watching a game saying, hey.
As for you, you whitewash with lies. Worthless physicians are you all.
Goodness.
That's kind of a... I don't know if weird is the right word, but a unique analogy. Worthless physicians.
You opened this, I guess, a couple of weeks ago when you were talking about the poetic, right, from these chapters forward.
Yeah, all the middle chapters here from like chapter 3 through 38, 39, something.
It's very
are poems.
Poetic versus, hey, you doctor of lies over here. Like, I think I could have come up with a lot of different ways
Doctor
to say
of lies.
Is that what he said? Physician? What did he say?
Yeah.
What are the exact words?
Worthless physicians.
Worthless
But
doctors.
doctor of lies. That's doctor of lies. That's good.
Much better.
Give me a T-shirt.
You could be like, however many thousands of years BC poet right here.
Well, then if you going down to verse 5, I don't know if you're going to read verse 5 or not, but if only you would shut up.
That's what the verse says. He's not saying that to me.
Right. Yes, that's, just make sure we get that. It says it right here. Yeah, let me make sure that we get that in. That was good, Danny.
Yes.
If only you would shut up and let that be your wisdom. But yeah, I mean, just...
That sounds just like Job.
Yeah, it sounds just like Job. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
He absolutely could say that to me, but he wasn't in this instance.
That's right. Yeah. So, but anyway, that's
pretty direct.
Called them worthless doctors, and then if only you would shut up, and let that be your wisdom. So,
yeah, my translation says, "Oh, that you would keep silent."
That's not good.
Yeah, that's
not the same.
It's not the same feel there.
Not the same fire there.
What's yours got, Final?
Yeah. If only you would be altogether silent.
Oh gosh, that's
so weak.
Yeah, it's soft.
Weak.
Well, you're definitely leading the clubhouse. Yeah, you are. Yours is pretty raw over there, Brandon. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Whatever.
Reading the Shanks edition.
Yeah, I wrote this. Yeah, I'm putting on my own words in here.
Well, Ryan, a couple
Tennessee slang over here.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah. Was it the first episode that you said that Ryan had the Tennessee slang edition of his book?
I was trying to name the characters' names. Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. That joker ain't even from Tennessee.
Well, he's not from any of the places he claims to be from, really, so might as well. Verse 7, will you speak falsely for God and speak deceitfully for him? So this is Job kind of accusing the three friends of, speaking for God. Are you going to speak falsely for God? Are you going to interpret what he thinks and speak deceitfully for him? That's what was pretty big accusation, pretty big comeback there, I thought. Well,
from someone that spends time in prayer and talking to God to then say, hey, I'm in that communication, and I don't believe you two are, or you three. I think that's pretty bold.
Yeah, for sure.
I would guess it's not going to do anything to quench down the fire of the conversation either. When he's coming back that strong, they're like, all right. But we're only halfway through his reply to Zophar here.
I find it interesting that it's three guys, right? Because I feel like guys take things differently. If this was three women, they probably not friends anymore. Like after some of these rebuttals here, you've already packed up and left.
I was going to say they would not have made it this far.
No, they'd be scratching.
In your book, they would be
pulling hair. Yeah. In my the translation that I wrote.
But too, it's kind of a pack mentality. I mean, pack mentality can go as far as you want it to go. I mean, if you wanted to take it to a riot in a city, any one or two of those people by themselves would not be out there doing something crazy like a riot. But when you get hundreds or thousands of people together and they're feeding off each other's energy, right. Well, they go do something that they would normally never do.
For sure.
And so it's kind of the same, these guys are feeding off of each other and their own energy and the arguments that they're making. Verse 15 says, though he slay me, I will hope in him. This is Job now talking. He's called his friend stupid pretty much, told them they need to shut up. And now he's turning that conversation back to, I'm still going to hope in God. Verse 15, though he slay me, though God slays me, I will still hope in him. Yet I will argue my ways to his face. So he is chasing God, but he's still holding on to I think you did me wrong here.
Well, we cry out to God too, no different, right? I mean, we believe that he hears the cries of his people. And I think for Job here, he's wrestling with God or, saying what he feels, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's no different than us today.
Yeah,
right.
True. Yeah.
And Job kind of goes on, he makes it seem like he's not giving up his argument, but then he goes on, verse 22, then call and I will answer. So he's asking God to call him. Job will answer. How many are my iniquities and my sins? Make me know my transgressions and my sin. Make me know my transgression and my sin. So he's saying, God, I think I'm right. I don't think I've done anything wrong. But you know more than I do. You see other things. Please reveal this to me so that I can know the wrong things I'm doing and correct it.
Well, you sort of mentioned it there in my commentary down here. It says Job remained confident that he was innocent. That he was innocent from what he was doing.
And that's that's a great self-aware moment, I think, right there, that I don't want to overlook. We can think we're right and think we're innocent, but God knows more than we do. And it's sometimes we need to have that mentality of, please show me what I'm doing wrong. Because I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing X, Y, Z. I think I'm doing right, but I don't feel like you're close to me. I feel like we're separated. I feel like whatever. Show me what I'm doing wrong. But you got to hold on that he's going to show you what you're doing wrong, too, if you say that.
That's right. Yeah.
We'll move on down. Chapter 14, Job is continuing. I mean, this is a long response here to Zophar, but Job continues. And now he kind of changes this again. Man, I keep going back to what you said, Fano. Like, he's speaking for so long that he kind of goes down a lot of different paths here, right?
He does.
So he went to look at what God has done to I'm still hoping in God. Now, the title of this section is Death Comes Soon to All.
Right.
So, I mean, it's
Wrapping it up.
He takes some turns, like that he's innocent, that he's kind of in a way questioning God, ripping his friends. And I mean, he's going down a lot of roads.
Yeah.
Seems like.
And this is kind of the, he wrote up, God, show me what I know you're right, show me. Now he's going back down into another valley.
Right.
We'll pick it up here, chapter 14, verse number 7. For there is hope for a tree, if it be cut down, that it will sprout once again, and that its shoots will not cease. Verse number 10, but a man dies and is laid low. He breathes his last, and where is he?
Right.
So Job was kind of given the analogy of, on earth, plants die, a tree is cut down, but it's going to spring back to life.
Right.
It's not really, but when a man dies,
There's no coming back.
and there ain't no coming back.
No coming back.
And he goes on to give a lot of different analogies of, water, like a lot of natural analogy. He's talking about rivers and lakes and mountains and all kinds of stuff here, but just making the distinction that man is different from everything else in God's creation.
I think it's one of the Psalms where it talks about let your children be like olive shoots around a table, and you're thinking about like how you're leaving a legacy to let them continue to go on. And in this analogy, if you aren't doing that and you just pass away, what happens? Right? What have you done? And
so it's a lot of that going on in chapter 14, and then we get down to verse 21. His sons come to honor, and he does not know it. So this is a man has passed away. Same kind of thing that Zach was hitting on. Once a person dies, his sons come to honor, and he doesn't know it. The man doesn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
They are brought low. His children are brought low, and he perceives it not. So I mean, he's back in the, back in the valley on this one here. Again, just hammering home his points. He feels he is being wronged.
well, and I wonder if there's some kind of contrast there because at this point his kids are all gone, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
all
now,
10 of his kids have been killed.
and so if he were to pass away in that analogy, right, nobody's coming back to see him, right? Except maybe these 3 friends that he's about to run off.
Yeah.
And they probably would come back with, I told him so.
I told him.
Exactly.
I told him.
Exactly. Look what happened to him.
Yeah.
He didn't listen to us.
Tried to warn him.
Speaking of friends, verse 50 or chapter 15, Eliphaz comes back. He's like,
Yeah.
let's get in here. Let's get some words in.
He's gonna get his. He's played it a little bit, and
He's ready.
he's primed.
He's had time to think about, ponder.
He's primed, and he's going for
Well, he kicks it
a
off
couple
here.
of gut punches right here and started off.
The first one, verse number 4, Eliphaz talking to Job. But you are doing away with the fear of God and hindering meditation before God. For your iniquity teaches your mouth, and you choose the tongue of the crafty. Pretty much, you're lying to yourself. You're making your own reality. You're doing away with the fear of God, what He tells you, the consequences of what He tells you, and you're letting yourself talk you into a falsehood.
That's a great friend.
Yeah.
I do like that verse 5. For your iniquity teaches your mouth, and you choose the tongue of the crafty.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty good quote there. But
Brandon, what's your Tennessee version say?
Well, Brandon's version that I wrote here. No. Mine says, your iniquity teaches you what to say, and you choose the language of the crafty.
Very similar.
talking yourself into the lies you create.
Correct.
That verse 6 is, it's him defending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My version says, your own mouth condemns you, not mine. Your own lips testify against you. So he's saying it's not me. It's not us
You did this.
doing it, that you've done it to yourself with all that you're spewing.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep on going. Verse number 8, have you listened in the counsel of God, and do you limit wisdom to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Should have just fired back right there. Yes, I listen.
Yeah.
Who do you think I'm talking to?
That's true.
What do you know that we do not know? What do you understand that is not clear to us? Both the gray-haired and the aged are among us, older than your father. I mean, they're trying their best to shut them down, right? Eliphaz right there is like, you don't know anything more than we know. You're not better than us.
Yeah.
We're older.
We have, guys that have been around for a long time and have gained a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom. And who are you to tell us?
In this case, it doesn't appear so. This is just a question I was thinking. Like, do you think today believers get sucked into peer pressure of things that their friends put on their mind, even though you know that God's in control? Like, do you feel like that there's instances where you stray because of friends that tell you things that may not be true?
Yes, is the short answer. But
For sure.
I think we learn from that as we, the more mistakes we make or the more we learn from different situations we might be in. But we're continually attacked, and it's easy to, what if your spouse, what if our wives were telling us something? We're going to want to go support our wives and do, but unknowingly or not, they may be leading us astray, or, any number of scenarios we could name like that Satan is going to use everything available to attack us and lead us away from God.
Yeah.
I agree. I was just thinking about, like, most of my friends are believers, so it's like we're similar minded. So I don't know that I've ever been taken down a path from them, but that, I could see like somebody from the outside that's not a believer. That's, hey, let's go to somewhere you don't need to be, right? That's common, but I don't know. I don't put it in perspective enough for people like-minded to, be like this right here. Like, they're pointing out things that are false, but, they're trying to convince Job that he's wrong. And, I just don't, I'm sure it goes on. I just,
For sure.
curious.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, too, it depends on where somebody is in their spiritual walk. So the same like these guys, they're in a different place in their spiritual walk or their spiritual life.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're not talking to God like Job is, right? So it's
But they think they think they are directing him towards a godly path and to godly things, or they're rebuking him because he's not following God in their beliefs. So, I mean, that could happen
that's true.
anytime.
Yeah. Especially if you're one to just not be in the word, I guess, when you talk about friends, because you're not going to be able to distinguish between what's real and what's not if you're just basing it off of those friends that might be walking you down a path and you don't have
a foundation.
A foundation or a guide to align you. Yeah, I think it'd be real easy to walk down that path and just because you're going to trust the people that you hang out with and think that they have your best interest in, but it could definitely go against this stuff.
And I think it could be unintentional too.
Right.
Like,
It could be
I
definitely be
clearly
innocent.
think that they are in the right. I
Right.
mean, there's no doubt about that.
Right.
But, when you're looking at it from the outside and, when you're in the heat of the battle like he is, and for him to be able to stand up and say, no, like, I'm living right, I'm talking to God, you three need to figure it out. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's 1 on 3.
Yes. Right.
It is.
And you've seen all these bad things happen to you.
Yeah. You don't really have anything left. It's not like,
And they know those things have been bad.
Right.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
but it could be unintentional too, to bringing it to today. Us being a stumbling block for somebody unintentionally. Thankfully I don't. But let's say I had a gambling addiction, and me and Brandon are on a road trip somewhere, and he's like, "Hey man, there's a casino. Let's run in and drop $5 in a slot machine." totally innocent and he didn't know I struggled with gambling, well, that may set me on a path where I'm, you know, going downhill quick and ruin a bunch of things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Totally innocent and maybe not wrong, but
Right.
something, you know, Satan's going to use that a totally fun thing. Hey, man, let's 20 minutes. Let's run in here, drop $5 in a slot machine. But that is a stumbling block to me, and that's going to cause me to walk away from God.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that
A true friend would know that.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Wow.
But, I mean, you know, if you struggle with something, you know, a lot of us do this. I don't want anybody else to know.
Right.
I'm going to try and sort that out myself.
Right.
Not because we don't want to be embarrassed. We don't want to, you know, be held accountable maybe,
Right.
or maybe
Vulnerable.
we got it.
Yeah.
We don't want to
Yeah.
be vulnerable.
You don't want to be weak.
There we go.
Ask for help or something
Yeah.
and say, hey,
That's true.
I'm weak in this area of my life. Let me just,
And I may have it under control in that moment. But, you know, I think it could be unintentional too.
Yeah,
We're
I agree.
getting led astray in those ways.
yeah.
So Job kind of continues on. Verse number 20, chapter 15, the wicked man rise in pain all his days through all the years that are laid up for the ruthless. Dreadful sounds are in his ears. In prosperity, the destroyer will come upon him. He does not believe that he will return out of darkness, and he is marked for the sword.
He is destined for the sword. Man, that's
So this is Eliphaz accusing Job here of all this, you know. Here's where you're going. Here's the path you're headed down. You are, you know, marked for the sword. You're marked for death. You're never going to return out of darkness. You need to get your life right, man.
And now, like being on the other side, when this is over, and to look back and say that God picked me, like He picked me to go through all this. I mean, what greater faith in a person could you have? I mean, that should be my prayer of like, give me, you know, let God choose me to do something great like that because He's got the faith in me. These friends are going to look this small.
oh for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Skip on down to verse 31. Let him not trust in emptiness, deceiving himself, for emptiness will be his payment. It's kind of, I mean, we know this is written in a poetic style, all these middle chapters and stuff, and that's a pretty bold statement, I think. You know, emptiness will be your payment, Job, if you don't quit doing what you're doing. For the company of the godless is barren, and the fire consumes the tents of bribery. They conceive trouble and give birth to evil, and their womb prepares deceit. Not only are you and everything you own evil, but
all going to perish.
Your offspring, the same thing, prepares deceit.
It'll be Eve.
You're a father of liars, Job.
Doctor of lies.
Wow.
So, yeah, Eliphaz, he waited his turn to come back, and
He did. He had a lot of.
You're going to see that throughout. It just kind of builds and builds, and woo, man, with friends like that, who needs enemies?
Oh, yeah, it keeps going and going and going.
In the book of Brandon, too?
In the book.
We talk
The
about
book
there's no
of Brandon.
book
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Well, that's a short book.
Well, I think we might wrap it up there for today, fellas.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert, Job comes back with a reply.
No.
Job's Job. Those first couple verses in that 16 is.
That's pretty. Don't spoil it for him, Fano. Don't spoil it for him.
Let's tease him. Let's call it a tease in the business.
Yeah.
Laying up for the next week.
Yeah.
Verse 16, when Job replies, then Job answered, chapter 16.
That's right.
Verse number 1. Then Job answered and said, I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all.
Yeah. Stop there.
Miserable comforters.
Wow.
That's a good one. But yeah, Job give his reply. Then Bildad comes back. Job comes back. Zophar's back in the game. Before you know it, boys, we're halfway through.
That's right. That's right.
Made some headway.
That's right. But glad you're joining us. You can kind of see we're picking up the pace a little bit. We're going to continue to do that through some of the middle chapters. But man, it's such. I mean, when you have such great one-liners and just thoughts and stuff like that, it's hard to just rush past all of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
So lots of lessons to be learned here as well. We don't want to shortchange it too much. So. Boxing match. If it's a boxing match, they're going all 18 rounds like the old days.
Yeah.
Blow for blow.
Well, before we get, last week we ended with who we're going to pick to win the Final Four.
Yeah.
So when this episode airs, who's going to win the Masters?
Who's going to win the Masters?
Masters. You know, Jim Nantz got the perfect job in the world.
Calls the Final Four and the Masters. That's
Yeah.
a tough weekend.
Tough weekend.
Well, let's see.
I'm gonna go with Scotty Scheffler.
Going to go with Scotty. That's a good. It's a good one. I hope Scotty wins it back to back. That would be awesome.
Do we think?
would be
Do we
cool.
think Tiger can put on one more show?
Well, he's going to be there.
hope
I say
so.
Tiger makes the cut.
Ooh.
I will go out. I will go out on a limb there. He just knows that course way too. I mean, he knows where it's just crazy how well he knows that course.
I'm gonna say Tiger's in the mix. I'm gonna go.
so
he's
we
gonna-
go.
He in the
I'm gonna
mix
go.
on
I'm gonna
Sunday?
go. I'm gonna go final grouping.
Oh, whoa. Whoa.
Mr.
Whoa.
I know,
Speaking of
I know,
gambling.
I know. I'm gonna say Mr. Woods gives us
Hey, I'll
gives
be
us a
fine.
show.
I would
I'd
be
be
fine
fine
with
with
that.
that.
I would
Yeah.
too.
I would. Yeah. I mean, the nostalgia of it.
That would be
the.
Maybe that's just my wish.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
not my true.
He is good for the game. He is good
Yeah.
for the
Oh,
game.
for sure.
I don't
Yes.
agree with some of his other actions.
No, but no.
How could
But
you?
on the golf course,
Yeah.
he is so fun to watch. And
Yeah.
like a lot of the guys now don't remember the way he shut everybody down when he was in his prime
Oh,
on the
it's,
golf
it's
course.
not even. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Jordan did back in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
So I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to go Xander Schauffele.
Shoffley. Okay.
He's playing really well right now.
Finals going Tiger in the final group.
Yeah. But I'm with Zach. I would like
Yeah,
a repeat would
Scotty
be
is-
would be cool.
So
That'd
are
be
we
very cool.
going? I might take it a little bit different.
Hmm.
Live
Uh-oh.
golfers versus the field.
I hope they
Liv.
I hope Liv. All those golfers missed the cut.
Live versus the PGA.
Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. There,
Oh,
Daniel
my
said.
Lord.
It is, and we can
That's a
talk
whole
about that.
can
We
of
may
worms,
break up
boy.
the Book of Job to get into some of that, but
You got the right guy on here for that.
we'll bring him back for that one. But
Oh me!
I
oh,
think somebody from the live side of golf is going to make a run at it.
Really?
Ooh.
I think so.
You know how many total live guys are in?
I don't know that.
I mean, Phil Mickelson would maybe be the leader of that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you have the other guy. You know, what's the other
Dustin
guy?
Johnson.
Dustin
Dustin
Johnson.
I wasn't thinking of DJ. I was thinking kind of the bigger guy.
Brooks Koepka.
Brooks. That's what I was thinking.
I mean, I
He's
think
all, man, that dude is all over.
I think those guys have a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
And now that they're allowed in all the majors, they want to come out and prove that, hey, we didn't make a mistake because we left the PGA.
And what bigger stage than
Yeah.
for them to come in and swoop in and
Yeah.
I
win
hope
the
Hoist it up.
Masters?
Yeah.
Who's the guy that
I
won the
just
Open?
hope, I just hope that not. I had to hope that he's not
I
happening.
mean,
the blonde guy?
Fitzpatrick.
No.
Oh, the young guy that won the British Open or the Open or whatever, and or the
blonde
U.S.
hair,
Open.
Younger.
I think he won that Fitzpatrick.
I'm not thinking. No, it's not him though. I'm
He won
thinking
the
about,
U.S. Open.
He won either the U.S. Open or the Open, and then
Cam?
bounced after that. Yeah, Cam Johnson or something.
No, Cameron Smith.
Cameron Smith, that's
yeah,
it.
that's it.
Yeah. Again, I hope none of those guys win it.
I think you need to know. I'm gonna kind of send an email to you that you may not get and get you to talk about Liv and have Brandon on here.
Oh yeah, we'll do it. I checked.
That might go national.
You won't get some pub on that one.
But,
oh, man.
I'm kind of for the drama a little bit. I want Tiger versus like
Phil.
Tiger. I think Tiger versus Phil.
That
Old
would be
school,
drama.
I think
that
you just
would
need
be,
to mic them up.
Circa.
the ratings would be. No, you don't want to mic them up. You talking about
Oh,
editing?
I want to mic them up.
Oh yeah, I do too. But
You have to pay for that
Oh
channel.
yeah, that would be high
on
knowledge.
HBO or something.
if that it's not going to happen, but if those two would be in the last grouping,
Man,
the ratings would be
that would break.
Or
All
Rory
sorts of-
McIlroy
Rory?
versus one of those guys,
Yeah,
like
that would
Dustin
break.
Johnson.
Roy
or
and
something.
DJ get
I
you.
mean, the world would
you
just
know you want to edit that conversations too.
edit most from those guys.
Yeah, I want to
it's-
see the drama. I want to see something like that happen, or Tiger in there, something.
Oh, I wouldn't mind
That'd be
Tiger
cool,
being
Tiger.
there.
Just because it's different.
Yeah.
It's going to shake it up.
I want to have the groupings even came out for the Masters yet. So I'll be interested to see how
They pair 'em
those
up.
guys pair all these people up. That's going to be another interesting drama to everything.
Well, are they able to do it without like crossing over like a live guy and
They're going to
I mean,
have
not
they're
for
gonna
4
have
days.
to.
I think they would.
eventually they would have to.
Now, they could do it for
Cross
Thursday and
paths.
Friday as
Yeah.
much as possible.
Do
But
they start by rankings? Is that how that
I forgot how
pairings
the
go?
pairings
I
go.
couldn't
think,
remember.
I think they just
Select.
select, hey, we want, and that's
Interesting.
all for they're going to put,
I'm sure they probably will.
yeah, they're going to put 2 or 3
Mm-hmm.
groups in the morning just so people watch it all day, like myself. But and then
Don't
2
you
or
work
3
on Thursday and Friday?
Oh, yeah, but that's national holiday.
National
It ought to be.
holiday.
Kind of like the start of the tournament.
First round of the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Thursday.
I meant we had a meeting, with my new, their company's based out of California, and I sent them an email. Hey, you do know that Thursday and Friday is starting of the March Madness is.
I'm glad that you
I don't-
break this to your
Yeah.
new employer.
I don't
Hey,
do
you
a whole
know-
lot on
I don't
those
do much.
I don't do a whole lot on those 2 days. And one of the guys replied back and said, I try not to either, but we got to have this meeting. I said, okay. Can we have it in the morning
I
time?
try not to do much.
Yeah.
Morning time meeting like 8:30.
8:30.
Anything
there is
past
like-
11.
Yeah, out there it'd be 6:30. So
Y'all got bought out?
yes, we did.
I didn't know that
Yeah. So it's all good.
because it wasn't like Chicago or something.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Chicago. Now we went from Chicago to California. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. So good company.
We're going to wrap it up today. Staying in the Old Testament, the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 6. We'll start with verse 5. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Nothing more to say on that one. So, guys, thanks for being here, coming through,
good
another
stuff.
week of the book of Job.
Right.
We'll be wrapped up before you know it. Working on some guests. We don't have any confirmations yet, but,
You just locked one up tonight.
be looking.
Live, Brandon Shanks.
Well,
Oh boy.
that's a topic, but we got some other topics
Thanks.
brewing, but we're going to keep pushing through the book of Job. But if we have a guest that confirms, we'll slide them in there and take a break. But
That's fine.
Yeah.
if not, keep up with us. Book of Job, start reading. Where we picking up next week? Chapter 16.
Yeah.
Chapter 16.
Job's
So,
reply.
Job's reply. And
Don't miss it.
they've been coming in hot. They don't cool down.
No, they don't.
They
They don't.
keep it up. The fireworks are still going.
Yeah, that's true.
So you know it. We love you. God loves you more. We'll see you next week.
We hope you are enjoying GPS to God. Rate, review, and subscribe across every platform you use. Help us spread the word by telling your friends and family to watch, listen, and subscribe.